Well, we're down to the final two series left to look at for the playoff preview for the Ontario Hockey League's 2025 playoffs, which begin tomorrow night. There's three games tomorrow, and yeah, can't wait to get the playoffs underway. But let's dive into this playoff preview. Right now, looking at the Saginaw Spirit and the Erie Otters. Saginaw, of course, finishing fourth in the West, and Erie in fifth. And these two teams split their season series, 2 games apiece. And the last meeting was back on January 10th. That was in Erie, where the Saginaw Spirit defeated the Otters by a final score of 6-2. And what's interesting about this series is that the winning team posted at least 6 goals in all four of their wins for either side. So this is a pretty even matchup between the Spirit and the Otters. And coming into this one, the Saginaw Spirit 6-4 over their last 10 games, and the Erie Otters 6-4 over their last 10 games. So some interesting stats right off the hop with these two teams going head to head. And the biggest thing that stands out about the series is the fact that we could have two of the top NHL draft picks going head to head in the first round. Matthew Schafer of the Erie Otters expected to return to the Otters lineup after breaking his collarbone at the World Juniors. And some are expecting him to go as high as first overall in the entry draft in June, while Michael Misa expected to be drafted maybe right after him at number 2. And he'll be playing for the Saginaw Spirit. So this is, I'm sure NHL scouts pretty excited about this matchup. So let's dive into some more of the stats between the Otters and the Spirit. And for Saginaw, they have the third best power play in the OHL during the regular season, operating at 27%. It's no real surprise. They have so many weapons up front. It all starts with Michael Misa and Zane Parekh at the point. And then for the Erie Otters, their power play 12th, 21.5%, so not too bad there. On the penalty kill, Saginaw ninth best at 79.6%. And for Erie, 77.1%, which is 14th overall in the Ontario Hockey League. So the penalty kill could use some work going into this postseason, especially when you're taking on the third best power play unit coming from the Saginaw Spirit. Now, in the goals for department, the Saginaw Spirit had scored the second most in the league, 324 goals for. And Misa getting over 50 goals. Igor Chernyshov, when he came to the Spirit late from the San Jose Sharks, he was explosive offensively. So not really a surprise there seeing Saginaw near the top of the OHL when it comes to goals for. And as for the Erie Otters, 248 goals for. So not too bad there, but quite the significant difference between these two teams offensively. Now, in the goals against, this is where the Erie Otters have the advantage. They gave up 261 goals during the regular season, while Saginaw gave up 274. So I know for the Spirit, goaltending is a question mark with the health of Andrew Oak and the defense. Can they keep the pucks away from their goaltender? Because Saginaw, they gave up 274 goals during the regular season. So yes, they can find the back of the net a lot, but it seems as though that's to outscore some of their problems. On the penalty sides, it's also a night and day difference between these two teams. The Saginaw Spirit led the OHL in penalty minutes with 1,056, while the Erie Otters took the second fewest penalty minutes at 762. So one team taking a lot of penalties, giving the opposition power play time, whereas the Erie Otters a little more disciplined play, although the situation we saw between Erie and Peterborough a few weeks ago might suggest otherwise. Maybe this is an Erie Otters team that might be looking to be a little more aggressive as they go into the postseason. The top 5 scorers now, we'll start with Saginaw. Michael Misa leads the way, 62 goals, 72 assists, 134 points. Unreal stats there for Michael Misa going into his draft in June. And then second in scoring, Zane Parekh, 33 goals, 74 assists, 107 points. Just unreal what Zane Parekh was able to do this season for the Saginaw Spirit. Third in scoring, Callum Mangoni, 33 goals, 50 assists, 83 points. Christian Epperson, fourth in scoring, 27 goals, 53 assists, 80 points. And Igor Chernyshov, he only appeared in 23 games this season, but he's fifth in scoring, 19 goals, 36 assists, 55 points. The offense on the Saginaw Spirit team, it's lethal. Now we shift to the Erie Otters. Leading the way is Pano Fimis, 32 goals, 54 assists, 86 points. Fimis also doing a really good job in the face-off circle. So that's going to be an area to watch too. If the Erie Otters, if they can get possession off the draw more often than Saginaw, we'll see what kind of advantage that might bring. But second in scoring for Erie, Sam Alfano, 41 goals, 43 assists, 84 points. Alfano, he is quite the force offensively for the Erie Otters, something that we saw last year as well, but really picking up his game again this year. Malcolm Spence, third in scoring, 32 goals, 41 assists, 73 points. Martin Misiak, fourth in scoring with 23 goals, 36 assists, 59 points. And Dylan Edwards, fifth in scoring, 20 goals, 36 assists, 56 points for the Erie Otters. Now, looking at the goaltending, this is where it's going to be interesting for Saginaw because Andrew Oak, his last appearance was February 27th in Barrie, and since then, he has not had a start for the Saginaw Spirit, which could affect this team in this postseason. He has a record 26, 21, and 2, 3.80 goals against, and an 876 save percentage. So that's a big question mark. Does Oak make his season debut or series debut in game one, or do we have to wait a little bit? But Caleb Papineau, he's been okay. 11 and 6 is his record. 3.66 goals against average, so better stats than Oak in that category. And an 876 save percentage, which is the exact same as Andrew Oak. In net for Erie, I kind of give them the advantage here because they have Noah Erliden. He was fantastic at the start of the regular season and ended the year with a record of 28, 18, and 4, 3.42 goals against average, and an 895 save percentage. And then Charlie Burns backing him up, a 6 and 10 record, 4.24 goals against, and an 860 save percentage. So I feel like Erliden could be a difference here for the Erie Otters with his play. He's shown that he can be a big game player, and we'll see if that can translate into this series between the Spirit and the Otters. Now, the last time these two franchises met in the playoffs, you have to go back to 2016. That's when the Erie Otters defeated Saginaw in 4 games, and that was also in the first round. So these two teams don't face each other too often in the playoffs, as it's now been 9 years since that last meeting. Now, this series does get underway tomorrow. That's going to be at the Dow Event Center in Saginaw. Game 2 will be Saturday. Game 3, it shifts to the Erie Insurance Arena on Tuesday. And then Game 4 will be Thursday, April 3rd in Erie. So I think this could go either way, depending on the health of Andrew Oak and whether or not Erie can take advantage of the penalties that this Saginaw Spirit team is known to take, or is the offense just going to outscore their problems and find themselves in a second round matchup in the Western Conference? I think this is going to be a fun one, and especially if we get Matthew Schafer versus Michael Misa in the first round. Love to see the comments and the interaction. Let me know below who you think wins this series and how many games. Thank you very much for all your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Talk to you again soon.